What is the latest on what the authorities are doing about these attacks across the high-speed rail network?
For the moment, it's detective work. They're putting together all the evidence they have to try to identify the individuals, the teams of people who attacked 4 points in the countryside, well outside Paris, burning up fiber optic cables used for signals of the high-speed network. One of the attacks was foiled by railway workers who chased away the saboteurs. They do have video of that, but for the moment, the government and the police are saying they have no clue, or at least they're not saying what they know about who perpetrated this.
There does seem to be a suggestion that it may have been some ultra left-wing groups, or that perhaps it could be the Russians.
Well, there was immediate speculation. Nobody's been saying anything publicly, officially, but the finger first of all pointed to Russia because Russia has been very active trying to destabilize life in France, as President Macron puts it. But the methods used by this low-tech attack resemble those used by ultra-left and anarchist militant groups in the past. And in fact, early last year, there was a similar attack at the Montparnasse station.
And what about the opening ceremony then? Is this likely to have any effect on this hugely ambitious ceremony, which is due to get underway in less than an hour and a half's time?
As people are already trooping in there under umbrellas, unfortunately, and in raincoats and anoraks. The organizers say that this will not have any effect, that everything is in place and everything's been rehearsed and it will go ahead as planned, absolutely. But of course, the authorities are extremely nervous. There has never been such a security presence in Paris since in peacetime. At least for decades. There are 40,000 police in the streets, and whole sections of the city have been locked down. So there isn't exactly a festive atmosphere at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, of course, security is always going to be a huge concern. And as we've been hearing, there are more than 100 heads of state there, quite apart from the huge crowds. But the message from the organisers seems to be that they are determined to press ahead with this unprecedented plan to have the ceremony going right along the River Seine through the middle of Paris.
Yes, it's going from 6 kilometers from the Quai d'Austerlitz right through to the point in front of the Eiffel Tower, the Trocadero on the right bank, where all the VIPs will be watching. And the French are very proud of this. They say it will outdo London 2012, and it does promise to be quite spectacular. And they also say they're prepared for rain, so we'll see.
Charles Bremner, the Times Paris correspondent, thanks so much for joining us. Well, let's talk to Catherine Merry. She's a former Team GB 400-metre runner and won a bronze at the Sydney Games in the year 2000. Catherine, hello.
Hello, Carol. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I mean, if you were one of the athletes preparing, perhaps still trying to get out there, some of them we gather were actually held up on their way out there. This is the last thing that you want, isn't it, during those vital last-minute preparations for the big occasion?
Yeah, exactly. We're very prepared as athletes, and we thrive off routine. So when anything disrupts us from that, of course, it's not good. But if you're an athlete that's already there in Paris in the village, you'll feel safe. Your focus will be fully on your competition. But you're right, Carol, there'll be athletes that will be traveling in over the next few days. The British athletes, for example, are in holding camps before they actually go into the Olympic Village. And you do have to trust everybody around you that everything's in place to keep you safe. And I'm sure it is. But yeah, athletes have enough to focus on. But hopefully there's going to be no more issues going forward after what we hope is going to be an amazing ceremony later.
Yeah, I know that you're hoping to get out there in the coming days, hopefully not disrupted too much. What particular events are you going to be looking forward to?
I'm a lover of all sports, as you can imagine, but with my athletics background, the track and field action is going to be superb. We have familiar names that are gold medal favourites. Keely Hodgkinson in the women's 800 metres and Matthew Hudson Smith in the men's 400 are the fastest in the world this year. They are gold medal favourites. But the likes of Ben Patterson in the men's 800 meters, he picked up a world medal last year, I think can run really well here. And world indoor champion in the pole vault, Molly Caudry, has been vaulting very well. So track and field alone has at least 5 or 6 medal chances. And Team GB have been consistently, Carol, consistently successful since those brilliant games of London 2012. And I'm expecting no difference in Paris.
And what are you hearing about the mood within Team GB? Obviously, there's always pressure for medals. These last few days, presumably for the athletes, the morale in the camp and the support of fellow team members is hugely important.
Oh, massively so. Like I say, all the athletes get into the village at different times because of the sporting schedule. But one thing is that everybody's just excited for everybody else. I will never forget the 2 Olympics I went to in Atlanta and Sydney when Team GB won their first medal and their first gold medal. The lift and excitement across the whole team. And we love mixing with different sports. We love talking to all the athletes from different events as well. And the Olympic Village is very surreal. But it's a very, very interesting place and exciting place. But the levels across the team at the moment, I can tell you, are very, very high. There's a lot of expectation, but there's also a lot of excitement.
We have been hearing, though, some reports about problems with the food, some athletes not able to get enough eggs and chicken, and they need to get their protein in. And in these vital lead-up days before the big events, it is absolutely crucial, isn't it? As you were saying, athletes like their routine, their training schedule, their eating schedule, and so on. How much of an effect could this have? I mean, are there concerns about this?
It will be a big concern because athletes will prepare themselves physically and mentally, and nutrition for us athletes runs alongside that with the same amount of importance. And like you, Carol, I've been reading and hearing that there's not enough of the food that's needed. The British team's sending out another chef. All these solutions are being thrown around for the British team in particular. But it is vital. Again, we run off routine and we also run off a lot of nutrition and a lot of protein and carbohydrates as well. And that's something that is out of your control as an athlete. And you rely on those around you to fix it and hopefully fix it really fast. You do not want to lose an Olympic medal in any sport because of the nutritional side that was out of your control. So I'm expecting that to be fixed very, very quickly by the brilliant British team.
And as someone who has competed at the Olympics, I mean, what is it about these occasions that just make it so special? I mean, obviously we have the World Championships, the European Championships, they all have their particular pressures, but there's something about the Olympics, isn't there?
There is. I say every 4 years or every 3 years in this case, of course, with Tokyo being delayed, that it is the exact same competition that you will face as a World Championships, but somebody sprinkles stardust around every 4 years when the Olympics come around because it is the Olympics. It's the biggest sporting show on earth. And it's everything. If it's the pinnacle of your sport, like it is for track and field, that's what you dream about. That's what I dreamt about as a 10-year-old girl, wanting to go to the Olympics. It is very, very special. And it's just somebody just sprinkles that little bit extra special stardust across the Olympic Games because it's so huge.
Before you go, one of our listeners has got in touch to say she wants to know what you ate when you were at the Olympics. So you were there in Sydney. Tell us what was what did you eat before you competed? Presumably very little on the actual day.
Yeah, very, very good question because athletes eat various different loads of food dependent on the time of the year. We're very heavy loaded in the winter with carbohydrates and high energy food, lots of protein. But actually at the Olympics, and it's a good point, Carol, because you do have to be very careful because the food village in the Olympic Village is huge. It has to cater for all the different foods from all the athletes from around the world. And you can be like a kid in a candy shop and you have to be very careful of what you eat before your competition, that you don't eat too much. But I was very carbohydrate heavy and protein led into the games, but a lot less food throughout the days leading up to my competition. Afterwards, that's a slightly different matter because that's when you can relax after you've done your job and eat a little bit more of the good stuff.
And maybe even have a glass of wine.
Maybe one or two. Maybe one or two.
Catherine Merry, former Team GB 400 metre runner. Really good to talk to you. Thank you so much.